Be a shocking upset and an amazing start to this show. Who would you rather have, Mahomes or Dak?
So these are the types of questions that make me mad. Because this is where, when I get my hair up and say, I think that we pretend, or we say, well, Patrick's in a different class, like he's judged by a different standard and all this because of all his accomplishments. It is then, to me, contradicted by, not only is this a very popular question this week, there is seemingly almost and not unanimous, but 80-20 answer. Well, obviously it's Dak. I mean, look at Dak's numbers this year. Look at what the Cowboys offense has done. Look, I said the other day I thought Dak was a second-team All-Pro quarterback. And this is where in 2009, I think it would have been ridiculous, even though that year Phillip Rivers had way better numbers than Tom Brady. If they were going into a game that both teams late in the season really needed, both teams for the most part healthy, like, nobody of major substance. Chiefs are missing their right guard. Trey Smith is a good player. Noah Gray, but it's not one team totally undermanned. Who would you rather have? I'd rather have the guy who's in the discussion for not only greatest quarterback ever, but in a two-man discussion for greatest big game quarterback ever, over a guy who the biggest question mark about him, fair or not, is big game performance. I don't care how good CD and George Pickens are. And so, for me, in a game both teams need, where both teams are coming off very, almost carbon copy type of wins, home victories, come from behind against teams they're chasing, stirring, late victories, I will take Patrick Mahomes to find a way, and I would rather have Patrick Mahomes on Thursday than Dak or Josh or Lamar or anybody, because he's the right answer to these questions.
Well, look, the numbers this year, we all know Dak's numbers have been better. You see on the screen, second in passer rating. Mahomes is 16th. All right, so barely above league average. I think 1 point ahead of league average. Here's the thing, though, Nick. It's not just this year. Let's look at the last 3 years. Statistically, Dak is way better, in everything. Touchdown percentage is higher. Obviously, passer rating, yards is close, but, he's better. Not way better in everything, but he's been better over the last 3 seasons than Mahomes. So that said, give me Patrick.
Yeah.
Give me Patrick.
Of course.
And backs against the wall, must win. Everybody's watching on Thanksgiving Day. Huge game.
Patrick's home stadium that he's never played in. He's from there.
Right.
Played there in college and in high school.
Yeah, there's no question, and Nick said it, Dak, as great as he's been in the regular season in some of these seasons, his playoff performances have not been great. And Mahomes, as great as he's been in
playoffs.
It's
not the playoffs.
It is. This is a playoff game.
Okay, first let me rip Nick for a second, and then let me give you the true answer to this question. The pearl clutching from Nick about this question. It's your show. You guys talk about how you have the meetings and how you're on the phone calls and the Google Docs and stuff. This is a question that we ask in sports, okay? They're just thought-provoking, interesting questions. Mahomes hasn't been playing that great statistically or whatever. And so the question is, who would you rather have? Dak's been playing great. Who would you rather have, Dak or Mahomes? Dak or Mahomes? And it's okay to have fun with those questions, to act like it's just ridiculous and it's insanity, and how dare people have these conversations. That's what sports talk is. That's what sports talk is. That's how it goes. With all that said, it's a ridiculous question. It's a ridiculous question. It's insanity. What are we talking about? Dak Prescott has clearly been better than Patrick Mahomes. So you would have to go with Dak Prescott. It's something that I'll never say, because it's obviously Patrick Mahomes. We're doing a dream inside a dream inside a dream right now. We're doing some Inception right now. Obviously, it's Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, it is Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, it is Patrick Mahomes. The conversations about a Josh Allen or Mahomes and Lamar, those conversations make sense. They really do. They legitimately do. You see the levels of resiliency. You see the big game performances, especially if we're talking about Josh, a Josh Adams are obviously a lot more equal of a competent, of a comparison and whatnot. I mean, even Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes makes a little bit more sense because they literally face each other in 2 Super Bowls. Lamar and Mahomes just don't necessarily have that same ump, especially as of late, and Lamar hasn't had as big as his performances necessarily in those games. And so it is interesting. There are some quarterbacks where I really do care. Okay, let me rephrase this. Over these last couple of years since Patrick Mahomes' statistics hasn't been great, we've had conversations about, I'm willing to admit and have the conversation. Nick clearly is not, because he just wants to keep falling back on legacy. He's in the GOAT conversation. Like, that doesn't mean anything when we're trying to have the conversation of like, how are you playing today? How are you playing today? And it's just like when I got more in these deeper conversations, especially more in like 23 and 24, it's like you could see that Bigger Mayfield was better statistically, Tua Tagovailoa was better statistically, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, it's okay to say that, but in many instances, even if statistically that was the case, you still wouldn't necessarily say that quarterback, like I wouldn't say that Tua was playing necessarily better than Patrick Mahomes, whether he ended up winning a Super Bowl that year or not. Like I just don't live and die by that outcome as being like, have you been playing better? Just like how I really do believe Josh Allen played better than Patrick Mahomes, say last year or in years past, right? And I stand by that. But when you look at someone like a Dak Prescott, who's not in that tier of a Josh Allen, okay, who has none of those levels of accomplishments, like, I put him more in that Tua or Baker category. I think Dak is better. I think Dak is absolutely better. But at the same time, it's just like, I don't care what the stats show, man. I really don't. Especially because Dak Prescott, throughout the course of his career, and even when you look at the last 3 years or whatever, like we all laugh at Brew and the tomato cans and whatnot, but that has been consistently who Dak is. He consistently underperforms against. It's not just the big games, it's just against the great teams. He is elite and special against the good court, against the good teams and the bad teams. That is not the case against great teams and awesome teams consistently throughout the course of his career. His record, his stats against teams with a winning record, it's just plummets. It absolutely plummets. And this is where Cowboys fans like to twist themselves in knots because they'll be like, we're the best team. We're the top team. How dare you doubt us? And then they lose in the playoffs and you're like, well, what do you want Dak to do? The O-line's not good enough. The run game, the deep, and it's like, what are you talking about? The Dallas Cowboys over these last like 3-4 years, like, the main heart of their run where they were winning 12 plus games or so, have been top in the NFL and Pro Bowlers, all pros, top defenses, top O-lines. Like Dak has had, I went through this before. I don't have all of it right now with me, but throughout since he's been drafted, majority of his career, he's had top run games, top defenses, top O-lines. Like he's had the pieces around him. He's come up short. People tried to say, oh, the defense was to blame against the 49ers. And it's like, what are you talking about? That's not true. Like, people just make stuff up. Okay, you scored 12 points. Your defense held the 49ers to 19. It's like, I don't want to hear it. Okay, the year before that, you lost to Jimmy Garoppolo, who threw for 172 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 interception, and had a passer rating of 67.4. Okay, they scored 23 points. I mean, Dak's big playoff wins and playoff performances were against teams that were falling apart, okay, that were awful. So I don't want to hear it. I do not want to hear it. I'm excited for this game because I really don't know what the outcome will be. I actually appreciate this question more so than like, how bad do the Chiefs need this win? How much pressure on Dak and the Cowboys? Like, I feel like we've already talked about that enough. This is actually just a more funny question to me. And it's just the ground that we can have the conversation of like, how do we discuss quarterbacks? How do we evaluate quarterbacks? What do we value? And why it's not all or nothing. It's why, you don't just say because statistically this quarterback is better, therefore I want him over this other quarterback, but also why you can't just completely throw that out either. That it's just, it's complicated. It's the quality of play, the types of throws, what your team is asking you to do, who you're doing it against, the coaching. Like, there's just so many variables So many variables. And this has been very much a textbook Dak Prescott year. Maybe the team is good enough and the coaching staff is good enough for him to now finally be in a better position to win a game like this. But I'll just end here because I think this will probably be my last Chiefs-Cowboys video today discussing this game and whatnot. But I'd say that the where I'm at least right now, and again, this can completely change after watching the game. Like, I will be impressed if Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys win this game because I do feel as though that the Chiefs are great enough and difficult enough to beat that I will be genuinely impressed with Dak's performance. But the other, or just the how, the Cowboys win. But especially if it's, on the back of deck. But on the flip side of that, it will also be pretty strong statement about the Kansas City Chiefs of, like, you lack the ability now to just consistently win these games. You're actually no longer as great and difficult as you once were. And this is what I had said previously, and some Kansas City Chiefs fan, like, was confused by it, where I said, like, you are now at the level of, like, the Bills or the Ravens, where it's like, yeah, you still got it. You can still be brutal. You could still be difficult in any given moment. You can dominate, but, like, you're lacking that consistency to just get the job done when you need to most. And when I said a statement like this, someone was like, oh, they like the Bills or the Ravens. They have 12 AFC championships and 15 Super Bowls. And it's like, we're not talking about accomplishments. We're talking about quality of play, consistency of play. The Chiefs have always separated themselves from the other great teams, other great quarterbacks, like the Bills, Ravens, etc. And, it just would feel that they would now just fall back where it's like, yeah, because I still stand by, even if they lose this game, I would still stand by them being better than their record and still being a really difficult, dangerous team in the NFL. But, like, they would just be a little bit more closer to what we had seen even in the best versions of the Bengals, the Ravens, the Bills, where you're just like, yeah, great quarterback, great team, can win a lot of games. A team that you certainly don't want to go up against, but, like, can still beat. They're not perfect. They're not flawless. Like, you can expose them. You can stop their run, or you can throw over the top. Whatever it may be. Like, like they're, yeah, totally beatable, where even at their worst, the Chiefs still felt where you were just like, man, I don't know, man. Chiefs are the Chiefs, right? Like, they're not going to beat themselves. You have to play perfect ball, and if you don't play perfect ball, then you're going to lose. Like, that's what it felt even when the Chiefs were not at their best. It was just, all we need is you to make a mistake. As long as you make one mistake, it's good. Done. Game over. Oh, you missed just an extra point. Great. That's all we needed. It's all we needed. No big deal. We win now. Sorry, bye. Game over. That's the way how I felt the Chiefs have really been for pretty much their entire dynasty. Even though they have had years, obviously, where they could just pile on points with the best of them, it was still very much of like, we just need you to make a mistake. You make a mistake, we're good. Game over. And that got tighter and tighter in 23, 24, and now even in 25. But, like, I don't know. Like, yeah, I'm fascinated to see how this game unfolds. I really, really am. And the same token on it, it's like, if the Chiefs win big and they swallow up Dak and this top offense, I would still just be like, yeah, it was the Dallas Cowboys. This is kind of par for the course for the Dallas Cowboys, quite frankly. Like, Chiefs prove that they are still who they are and that they're still good enough and they can contend. But, like, you only put so much stake into this game against Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. And again, on the flip side, it's like the Cowboys win this game. My foundational mindset will be, this was an impressive win, but this is not the Kansas City Chiefs of the past. This is not even the 24 Kansas City Chiefs, the 23 Kansas City. Like, this is not quite who they are. This is they're fighting just to get into the playoffs right now. Like, you just beat a non-playoff team. Yes, a difficult team that I feel, and I think that they are more worthy to be in the playoffs than, say, the Jacksonville Jaguars, but, like, I don't know what's going on, right? Like, so it's complicated. It's complicated, which I know people love. Like, people love when you have a complicated take. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts. Who would you rather have, Mahomes or Dak? Who you got in this game? What will a win or a loss mean for both of these teams? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. So you agree with me or disagree with me? Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.